Hi everybody, welcome to the OAG RC. Bit of a funny video today. Firstly, I want to do a video about hop-ups. And this is my most hopped up car that I have. It was the first RC that I bought getting back into the hobby during lockdown. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be great to buy a RC, hop it up and have some fun with it and see what I make of it. And now I've ended up with a ton of RCs and a ton of hop-ups for them. And I thought what I'd do is just talk a little bit about what I'm planning to do for next season on the Orchard Raceway and how hop-ups are going to come into the equation. But before I do that, I've got a favour to ask. For some reason, my time trial video for my Hotshot has not appeared on people's YouTube's lists this morning. And I was hoping that you would click the link in the description below and go and check out my Hotshot time trial video, which for some reason has gone live yesterday or today and has had 0 views basically. And it's because I accidentally made it live 3 weeks ago and it hasn't come into anyone's feeds, which is a note for me as a YouTuber that, you know, don't accidentally make a video live and then expect that it's going to magically appear in people's watch lists when it does come live. So if you could go and check it out, I would really appreciate it, because this thing was blooming brilliant around the Orchard Raceway, and it would be a shame for everyone to miss how good it really was. Anyway, back to hop-ups. So here's 2 cars that sit, you know, pretty high up on the Orchard Raceway at the moment. And this one here is stock, apart from a high torque servo saver. And this one is very heavily hopped up. And yeah, this one's actually quicker than this one around the Orchard Raceway, believe it or not. This has got a torque-tuned motor in that was kit standard. This one's got a 17.5 turn brushless, which I actually think is slightly slower than the torque-tuned, if I'm honest. But these guys, you know, are going to appear in the grand finale this year, and one of them is going to, you know, come first out on the track, and the other one isn't. And then I'm going to be sat there going, well, great, you know, what happens next year? These two are going to be shooting out the top of the Orchard Raceway again, and there may be some other cars that we get and build, and they'll compete. But the ones at the bottom are always going to be at the bottom. They're never going to get any better. So I thought, I wonder how we could make that better. So for next season, what I've decided to do is have 2 divisions. The HRL, I've taken influence from the NFL. The HRL, which is the Hero Racing League, and the BDC, which is the Bad Dude Championship. And basically, the top 2 cars from each of those divisions will go into the season finale. So we'll have a 4-car shootout at the end of the season for the Grand Champion. Any car finished bottom of their division can have a hop-up. They'll be able to select 1 hop-up from a list of hop-ups that I've got for the cars. So that's 2 cars every season to have a hop-up that finish bottom of their divisions to try and improve them for the following season. That hop-up could be a motor, it could be a new suspension, it could be different types of tyres. There's a number of things that we can do each year to try and make the cars better. But the 4 cars that shoot out in the grand finale, one of them is going to finish 4th. And I was also thinking whichever car finishes 4th should also be entitled to pick a hop-up from its hop-up list. So if it does get back to the finale the following year, it goes there with a way of competing at a higher level. So hopefully that'll make the whole Orchard Raceway leagues a little bit more interesting next year, to have, you know, basically 2 divisions and then the top compete, and then a way of improving those that finish down, almost like the draft system, I suppose, in the NFL. Whoever gets last gets first round pick, and therefore should start to improve, so they shouldn't always be last. And that's the plan. Now, it might be that I can't fix certain cars, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about what hop-ups I've got for which models. So the Grasshopper here that you saw a moment ago on the deck, I only have 1 hop-up for that. It already has oil-filled shocks and bearings in it. And let's be honest, I could put some oil-filled shocks on the front. I know the shocks for the Grasshopper 2, I think, probably would work on here in some capacity. But what we've got here is a 380 sport tuned motor. And I think if the Grasshopper finished bottom of its division, it will be able to have that put into it, and that'll hop it up for the following season and should theoretically improve on its time. This year of 8:34, it was kind of mid-pack, mid-table. It was, for one point, doing very, very well for itself. But that will certainly hop it up. So, again, as I'm going through these, if anyone's got any ideas of hop-ups, drop them in the comments, and I'll put them to the list and see if we can get hold of them. Right. Next. We might be waiting a while for this one to get into a position where it needs a whole load of hop-ups. But, I mean, this is ace. I love this car. Absolutely love it. I hate my decal work. I think if I was to do this again, do a heck of a better job than I did on this one. But when this does eventually hit the bottom of a list somewhere to have some hop-ups on it, I have managed to track down an XV01 slipper clutch and 2 sets. I've just realised that they're both rears. I hope that doesn't make a difference. Well, I've got 2 sets of rear universal shafts. I need to see whether that's a problem. And if it is, then I'll have to sell a set of these and get set fronts. But what I have thought about is doing some universals, but also the slipper. And the slipper would also allow this to have a more powerful motor in it as well. But someone said to me, if you're going over jumps, you really should have the slipper clutch on to protect the drivetrain. So I don't think that's going to have any real performance benefit. But these guys should do, especially if I work out whether I need to buy a front as well as a rear. So here's my TD2, which you haven't seen go around the track yet, but I have seen it go around the track. I've also picked up a few hop-ups for this as well. Again, in the event that it finishes in the bottom 4 in a shootout, or it finishes bottom of its division, I want to have options for it. Now that is going to go in next time I open up the rear back end of this car. That is going in the diff, because I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. So maybe during the autumn I will open it back up again and put that in. But we've got the stabilizer set, front and rear, that can go on this car. We've got the rear suspension mount with the adjustable spacers that can change and adjust the rear suspension setup. And we've also got a set of the universal drive shafts. You only need 1 set for the TD2 because they go on the rear wheels, because that's where the drive is. So again, you know, there's some neat options there to help with how this is going to progress. Now, what I don't have for this, I don't have a slipper clutch. You know, maybe I should have got one for it if I'm going to start putting a bigger motor in. But we can get one of those in the future if I need to. But for now, we've got some nice, neat parts for it. Yeah, I've got too many hop-ups, it would appear, because I do have the slipper clutch for the TD2. So when we get to the point where we're putting the motors up, the slipper can go in and protect the train as well at the same time. Right, this one is almost a bit of a cheat, because we do have some hop-ups for this, which were very, very kindly donated to the channel by Jess. And they are going to be making their way onto this holiday buggy during the summer. And me and Mini OAG are going to run it, you know, with its extra power in it, and see how much a difference that makes. But I also have some other additional bits and bobs for this. I've got some oil shocks. They're the CVAs that go on the DTO3. They also fit this. I've got a high torque servo saver to pop on it. And I also have a ball diff. Now, I do have a set of adjustable arms for this as well for the DT02, but I need to look at how they work on this model if I'm going to go with those and put those in, because I'm not sure there's all the right spaces in these particular arms for that. But I'll have a look and we'll work it out. But the disc can be hopped up if, in the unlikely event after it's got that 21 turn motor in here and it's going to be absolute flyer, it might be in the bottom 4, in which case we'll be hopping it up. What you can see here over time is that all the vehicles are likely going to cycle through. As we hop other models up and they start to rise up, they're going to finish in the bottom of the top 4, or they're going to finish bottom of their division because I've driven them badly, maybe, whatever it might be. It just allows us to keep improving the cars over time and keep it interesting for not only me, but for you guys watching at home. But as with any of the cars that you've seen today, I also need some ideas of how I can hop up other cars where there isn't immediately something that I can do. For example, the Hotshot. This is pretty much as it is. There's not a whole bunch of hop-up series that you can apply to this model easily. There are some things I can do to it, but, you know, I'm looking for inspiration from you guys of the types of things that I could do to the Hotshot, the Mad Bull, the Frog, or additional improvements that I can make to the DTO3. And that gives me somewhere to go once the vehicles have, you know, I mean, there's nothing more I can do, or I don't think there's nothing more I can do with this other than improve the motor. And if I put a bigger motor in, it's going to go a bit faster, and therefore it should come up the leaderboard. But it also might become uncontrollable and therefore become inconsistent, and maybe I don't get a hot lap out of it at all. But here's the thing. Once I've reached the point where I've hopped it up, and I can't do anything else with it, and it's the bottom of its table, I'm saying the very, very bottom of the division, I'm at a point where I may have to think about retiring it. And there are 2 vehicles that we are going to be retiring from the Orchard Raceway this year. We're not going to run my daughter's lunchbox again because I'm not going to be hopping that up. I've already got a CW 01 chassis that I have hopped up, and I'm not showing you that because, well, you'll see it later this year, and it'll be revealed later this year, and you can see what I've done to it. But also, my original Raider, the OG Raider from my childhood, the one that survived since the 1990s and all the bashing that we did as kids. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to smash it up. I don't want to wreck it. It's sentimental at this point, and I want it to remain sentimental. So I still want to be able to get it out once a year and gently drive it around the Orchard Raceway and do a procession lap with it. But I don't want to take it out on the track and bash it. So those cars are retired. Now, if we get another car in the fleet that has reached its Orchard Raceway pinnacle and it's not going to get any better, then it will be retired. If it finishes bottom of its league 2 in a row and I can't do anything else to it, we will retire it and allow something else to take its place. Because, you know, there are, I want to say 14 cars. There's 7 in each division. There might even be 6. There'll be 7 next year. That's about enough. That for me to run through those, you know, 1 a week, I've got 14 weeks worth of content there. And more importantly, you know, then there's the final. There's an awful lot of shooting that goes on. There's an awful lot of video editing. And the more cars I get, the harder it comes for me to do that on a regular, consistent basis, because I've also got some other ideas of things that I want to do during the summer. Yeah, building some cars in the winter. That's great. That's fun. We'll continue to do that. But I also want to make sure that the what I'm putting out in the summer when I'm doing my time trials is quality and it's enjoyable for me. If I've got 40 cars to get through, I'm going to stop enjoying it. So by rotating and cycling some cars out of each division, it will give me some time to enjoy some different cars. And yeah, let's be honest about it. You know, we're going to get to a point where the Grasshopper just isn't going to be competitive, or even, you know, as the lunchboxes, maybe the Pumpkin doesn't become competitive, and there comes a point where it probably just needs to be phased out of the league and something else will come in. I mean, if I look at the league table for this year, I mean, the MO5RA hasn't done particularly well, okay? And that's a little rally chassis. I love it. I think it's a great little car. It's front-wheel drive. The motor's over the front. It's fun. It's fun. But it's got a torque-tuned motor in already, and it's not even faster than the Grasshopper around the Orchard Raceway, and it struggles with the jumps. So maybe if that's at the bottom of its division, 2 years on the bounce, maybe that goes and sits in the RC retirement home in a comfy chair for a while. And then maybe one of the ideas I've got is we have a little rally set up, and we do a little rally course each year. We have some time trial rally stages. And guess what? It can come out and play as a rally car and still have a life in my RC channel, but doing something different that isn't jumping over the Orchard Raceway, which is really designed for these buggies. Anyway, enough waffle. Thank you for watching. Please go and check out my time trial video for this that for whatever reason didn't make it onto YouTube. If you've got some ideas for hop-ups for any of the cars that we've talked about, please drop them in the comments and let me know what you think I could do. You know, one of the things I could do with this is a hot trick where you put a carbon chassis on and you rip all the insides out. You know, maybe that would be fun. Any crazy ideas, let me know. Until then, whatever you do, have some fun. Thanks for watching. See you soon, guys. Bye.